District 1.
Here.
Mr. Tipton, District 2.
Here.
Mr. Herron, District 3.
Here.
Mr. Bricky, District 4.
Here.
Mr. Mann, District 5.
Here.
Ms. Hood, District 6.
Here.
Ms. Kruby at large. Here.
Thank you, ma'am. With that, we, on the approving agenda, we do have, we're going to amend it. Is that correct, Ms. Starnes?
That's correct. We need to add item 12B, the DMV grant, and item 12C, Town of Gate City request.
What was 12B again?
12B is DMV grant.
All right, need a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Do we have a motion to do that?
So moved.
Mr. Cooper made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, let's do a second. All in favor, vote say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next item is the minutes from July the 11th, August 5th, and August 18th. We'll do them separately. I think July the 22nd, I don't think I was here once. That. So we'll go with the July 22nd minutes first. That's one I missed, Frida. One of them I did. Which one it was?
I thought you missed one of the budget meetings.
Maybe. Anyway, if everybody attended, I don't remember doing as a whole, if everybody attended all of it. So we'll go with that. We'll approve all three at one time. So July 22nd, August 5th, and August 18th. If you've had a chance to read those and look at those, and anybody we need a motion to approve those minutes as presented to you. Mr. Judy made a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Mr. Tipton, second. All in favor, vote say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is citizen expression period, and I'll read this short statement and we will go into that. Citizen expression period is a point of meeting when anyone who wishes to address the board staff may do so. If you wish to speak, please come to the podium, state your name, where you're from in the county and or organization you represent. The board may or may not respond to anything you say, but we will take everything you say into account when making future decisions. Please keep your comments concise and business-like. No one has signed up to speak and have them assigned.
They have not.
Okay. We have no particular order. We just ask that you take turns and speak your business. Any action will be considered after we close the expression. So at this point, we are in citizen expression. Anyone wishing to speak may do so. Make a noise again.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to inform the board and the public that our hazardous waste pickup day that we have annually will be held on September the 19th. That's a Saturday. It'll be from 9 to 3 at the Gate City Flea Market parking lot. We'll be advertising in our papers and flyers out in the community as we finalize our procurement with vendors on that. But that will be the day.
All right. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Anyone? All right. If not, we'll come out of citizen expression period. I don't have anything to discuss on it. So, but is that usually a pretty good turnout, Bill?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's usually a big turnout.
Good. As far as you've got stuff that you can't take to the dump with, paint, oil, stuff like that, that's hazardous, you got a good time to do that. So anyway, it's a good thing. I'm glad you do that. Next item is a public hearing on the possible adoption of an ordinance adopting and incorporating motor vehicle provisions and other crimes and offenses of the Code of Virginia and repealing ordinances 2002-0, 2014-02, 2019-02, 2019-03, and 2019-04, 2019-05, 2019-06. What this ordinance will do, it will change the collection. It will come to the county rather than going to the state. Is that correct, Ms. Starnes? I believe that's the way that I read. So with that, we will have a public hearing on it, and we'll go into the public hearing on this possible adoption of this ordinance. Anyone wishing to speak there says it correct. Sorry, public hearing. Anyone? No one wishing to speak? We'll come out of the public hearing. We will had a chance to look at it, as to who was, how this is gonna be done. If you want to discuss it, make a motion, whatever you want to do, you're open to whatever. I think it's a good idea to do that, and hopefully it will put more money into the county rather than going to Richmond. And Mr. Andy Johnson, when he was here, he came up with that idea. I thought it was great. It's going to work for us that we can do that. So I think it's a good idea to do it.
I'll go ahead and make that motion.
All right, Mr. Tipton has made a motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Ricky a second. Is there any discussion or any questions from anybody on the board? All in favor, vote saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So the motion carried. All right. Then we have item 8, Virginia Department of Transportation, discontinuance of roads. So we have someone here to speak on that, I think.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I believe everybody knows me here. I'm Joey Mullins with the VDOT Wise Residency, the Assistant Resident Engineer there. Today I have with me Mr. John Bowling. He's going to speak some regarding the discontinuances. But first, before that, I have Mr. Todd Bowling. No relation that I know of between the two, but he's going to be here to speak a little bit about the bridge project on Route 65 and as well as the US 23 access project that's getting ready to start up. So that I'll let Todd speak.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, board. First off, I would like to issue an apology to the Board of Supervisors. I spoke to this board last month. The information I presented was in fact erroneous. The information I presented, I thought at the time was true and the most accurate information. It turns out, in hindsight, it was not. And I offer my sincere apologies to the board regarding that. I also wanted to address the board. VDOT is getting ready to start the 23 access management project at Moccasin Gap between Riverside and Gate City. We have a pre-construction conference scheduled for tomorrow morning with Hazardous Brothers out of Jonesville. They were the apparent low bidder on this project. The fixed completion date for this project is September 24th of 2021. And the project is divided into 4 phases. The first phase, we're going to have a permanent lane closure in the travel lane, the right lane on southbound 23 to accommodate the widening 23 and moving 23 to the south a little bit there. The passing lane will be open. Phase 2, we're going to switch and we'll have the travel lane in the northbound direction closed, and that's to do some drainage work on 23 through there. It will construct a parking ride location during that and relocate Route 619 during that. Phase 3, we're going to close both passing lanes in each direction to accommodate the construction of the median and finish the drainage work. And then the 4th phase will be done on the temporary lane closures. It will just be final paving, striping, signs, pretty enough project, if you will. So if there are any questions about this project, I'll be more than happy to take.
How long will this project last?
The fixed completion date is September 24th, 2021.
Okay. You know, it's going to be considerable congestion or any time to do any paving or anything all around through there. It's going to be. So I hope that people will be aware of that and they can, it's going to be for a year, it's going to be a problem.
Yes.
So I hope they'll do all they can to try to remedy that. So
I have talked with our folks in traffic engineering about maybe changing the timing of the lights at Wadlow Gap and at the intersection right here at Gate City to maybe help with the traffic flow through there and give priority to those folks' main line coming through.
Is it gonna be just daytime or is it gonna be some night inspection?
It will probably mostly daytime. I don't know exactly what the contractor's plans are as far as when they're planning to work. The lane closures will be permanent. So and I think there will be some drainage work that will probably be better served for them to do at night, and they will probably do those at night. It's what our anticipation has been. When we look at the plans, we try to build it as if we were the contractor. So.
Well, definitely a drainage problem there. If it rains any at all, you go through it, man, you've got to really hold on to it.
I live in Riverside, I run through there every day.
You know what it is.
It is my goal that if we accomplish nothing else with this project, we'll drain.
Right, good, good. That's always been an issue for a long time, so I'm glad to be lost addressed.
Yes, sir. Any further questions?
Any questions from anybody on the board? It's a good project. What's the cost of this project? You know what?
The low bid was $2,562,980.50.
All right. Any comments or questions? Again, appreciate what VDOT's doing. They've been a good partner with us.
Thank you. If you have any questions, let me know.
Once people, I think, get used to what it's going to be, maybe they will work it where they can get through there without any major congestion. But the paving projects and the patch have been an hour.
They have.
And, but I think when people, they don't know what's going on, they kind of slow down more than you should, and so.
Well, hopefully we'll be in and out quicker than we anticipate, but, you know, right now we anticipate it's next September.
Well, that's right out of year, so it's, you know, there's pain sometimes when you grow, so that's what it's going to be.
This is true.
All right. Any questions or comments?
The bridge situation in Ryco, will there be any difference? I mean,
Mr. Mullins will address.
oh, okay.
Regarding that.
All
All right. Thanks, sir.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Sure, I can go ahead and address it. So what was the question concerning the bridge?
right. Just what the plan is.
Yeah, so what we are looking at right now is doing the detour, actually detouring trucks coming down to Gate City, going across, I believe it's on Jones, and then on across 72 to 71, or 71 to 72, then back up. So it's a long detour. There are shorter options for locals to travel, and I know they're familiar that area does flood whenever you have a lot of rain. That happens a couple of times a year, maybe. So the locals are kind of familiar with the shorter detour that they can take, but we will do a signed detour for trucks. Our intent is to have like either a citizens information meeting or a public hearing just to cover that, because the initial public hearing did it with the on-site diversion. That's where we had determined that we will generate a significant cost savings by not doing that. There's also concerns about we'll have to replace a water line and maybe encounter some undercut in kind of that bottom area of the creek. So I think there's a lot of benefits to going this route. So that's kind of what we're proposing to do moving forward. And we would like to get the board's approval, their resolution of support. We can do that at the next meeting if you want to, after looking at it a little bit further and hopefully having that citizens information meeting and public hearing pretty soon. So, good. All right. And so next I have Mr. John Bowling. He's here to speak about some of the highway system changes. This was I guess an audit, or not an audit, but a inventory correction thing through central office. They've identified certain routes that we're needing to address through highway system changes, and so he has those to go over with you as the board, and we can go through any questions you may have on that. All right.
Thanks, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As Joey was saying, VDOT is in the process of doing a reconciliation on missing and erroneous inventory records. Okay, now this is a statewide effort to try and get a proper accounting of our mileage that we're actually maintaining. Okay, some of the routes that are identified are older routes that still remain on the books for whatever reason, but VDOT has not maintained them in many years. Okay. And there were 5 routes in Scott County that were identified as part of this process. And I sent a packet to Ms. Dorn back in March. I hope everybody's had an opportunity to look at the maps and stuff that I sent. But the question for the board was, well, I'm recommending that these routes be discontinued because some of them are larger tracks and the right of way could be used for access if these tracks were divided in the future, okay, or subdivided. Some of them provide access to the river fords. And there's also provisions that the county, you know, I don't know how much you're pushing agritourism in this county, but discontinued right-of-ways can be used for like hiking, biking trails, things like that for public attractions if the county's exploring any of those options, okay? Whereas if you abandon a road, it goes away and it can never be re-added. If you discontinue a road and then at some point it re-attains the public service to warrant state maintenance, it can be re-added to the system, okay? And because these are larger tracts, and because they access the river on 2 or 3 of them, I would recommend discontinuance on these routes. That will relieve VDOT of the maintenance responsibility. The regulatory authority for that right of way will be returned to the board, okay? And that if these roads, they reattain a level of service, which is typically 3 houses per mile, to warrant VDOT maintenance, then at that point they can be re-added, okay? The thing of it is that on some of these roads, when I did the field trip, there were parts of it that I couldn't even find a road bed. I didn't recognize a road bed, okay? I know for a fact that we haven't maintained these roads in over 20 years, but I'm betting it's closer to 50 years since they've been maintained.
So any of these roads will then be discontinued rather than abandoned, is that correct? It would be abandoned?
Well, that's a choice for this board, okay? Do you want to discontinue these roads or do you want to abandon these roads?
Okay.
And the point I'm making is that if you abandon them, they're gone and they can't be added back, okay? If you discontinue them, it gives the board and the property owners options in terms of subdividing or redeveloping their properties, or the county developing maybe tourism facilities for hiking, biking trails, that kind of thing.
We have this on our tablet here. Can you go over those just individually, briefly?
Sure. I've got the list here. Okay, the first one is the section of Route 664 from 1.04 miles west of Route 665 Namble Road to Route 643 Bellevue-Tipton Road. This section is 1.06 miles. Okay.
I see the map there. Can you kind of just guide us in exactly where that's at? And I know we have the road numbers, but it's hard to make it out with this little diagram that we have.
Okay. Excuse me. If you get on Namble Road going out of Gate City here, you go out that way, you'll turn right on 643, and that is Bellevue-Tipton Road.
Okay, at the Copper Creek Bridge, Copper Creek Bridge. Is that what you're talking about?
I was at that Copper Creek.
You go to the top of Mantle Ridge, you turn left.
Oh, top of the mountain.
Yeah, as you go, down the river, turn left, go all the way down to the end of the road, and then that's where the other.
You got much more local knowledge.
I've been through there.
You went all the way around.
You go, what they're going to discontinue is the end of the road on top of Mantle Ridge, down to the road that comes up under the Spears Ferry Trestle and comes over the Mantle. And there's not been anything in there, like you say, 30, 40 years.
And that is actually one of the ones that I couldn't find any evidence of a road bed. It's not even, you know, the county's GIS department doesn't even list this section as a road. So, we've got Route 667, just up from Melville Road, you're gonna make a left on it's off of Route 666, Red Hill Road. It's sort of north of town. This is a section that also there's no evidence on the ground of the road ever being there. Just historic maps is the only thing I really had to go on. The one thing about that one is that it does provide access to the river and a river ford that can be used for farming planting, for fishing boats, that kind of thing. Route 669, these last three are all pretty much off of 71 going back toward Russell County. Okay. 669 is about 3.4 miles, about 3.5 miles north of 71. Okay, to Route 670. It's basically from the dead end of what we're maintaining now all the way through to Hale Spring Road. And it does include a river ford on the end. And that one accesses, you know, there are several tracks through there that one accesses. I don't think that, I think discontinuance would be your only option for that road. But there is a discernible roadbed on part of it. I think it's being used for maybe farm access. Okay. So that one there, there's a little more evidence of the road being there on that one than there is any of the others. Route 672, this is just off of Branch Lane, which comes right off of 71. And Branch Lane goes up and dead end, but there is a paper street that continues on all the way through and goes over to 671. The western section that connects to 671 especially is there's no evidence of the road. There is a little bit of evidence of the road coming off the Branch Lane end, okay, but it's dirt road, it's not a gravel road. It's pretty easy to tell where VDOT has been ending maintenance on that section of Route 672. Route 673, you go just north of 672, it actually intersects there, and 673 is, what's the name of 673? Well, it comes off of Ponderosa Road. But it's a larger section that goes through a bigger farm. You can see pieces of where the old roadbed was on the aerial photography, but there are places that you can't fully find the roadbed. And but it's another one of those that accesses some larger tracks, and it could be used if somebody were to buy these tracks. It would provide access to that. That's the big thing about discontinuance. With discontinuance, you don't lose legal access to the farm.
I'm hoping people that this will directly affect will come and we'll have to have public hearings. Is that not correct if we do any of this in the future? I'm hoping they will come and I guess they'll be notified that the landowners that don't come to the farm. If there's a house on it, if this is one house, I mean, if it's a state maintained road, then it should be, you said 3, is that what you said per mile? Usually, you wouldn't want to discontinue.
Oh, well, the
3 houses.
The minimum public level of service to warrant VDOT maintenance for a street road is 3 houses. Yes, 3 houses.
But if I was the only house there and I had a state maintained road, I mean, I want to keep it state maintained. So that's something we'll discuss whenever the time comes.
Well, and because this is discontinuance, this is actually a VDOT public hearing.
Right.
Okay, this is a public hearing that VDOT is responsible for. Big point of presenting this stuff to you here today is to answer any questions that you might have and let you know that, hey, we're recommending that they be discontinued. If you all study them and you think they should be abandoned or anything like that, well then, we need to know that before we go forward with the public hearing process. Right. So that's,
I'm hoping the people that will hear this and will come and express their concern, but it's going to directly affect them. You know, so it's something we need to hopefully get the word out. People know that this can happen, but we'll see how we stand here as a board, to discontinue or abandon. But anyway, I'm just not real big on abandon them or discontinue either, if there is people directly affected by it, that's the road they're using.
Sure. What are the benefits? I mean, what are the, I know it's good for you all to keep
Well-
track, but what would be more benefits of discontinuing the road?
As opposed to abandoning the
Well,
road?
no, I wouldn't be for abandoning. I think we'd need to just discontinue if that is what the people want, but, I mean, what, for the state part of it, what is the benefit?
Well, in this effort that we're doing to clean up missing and erroneous inventory, it's largely an administrative matter, an accounting matter, if you will. Okay, to get an accurate road log of the mileage that we are maintaining. Okay,
So it directly affects your all's budget, I guess,
it has the capability to. Okay, Southwest Virginia, our inventory was in pretty good shape. Okay, we didn't have a lot of mileage on the thing to deal with compared to some of the other localities throughout the state. But there was, I think, maybe 29 miles of road in all of the Bristol district. Okay, and I've not seen it, but I've heard rumors of over 100 and others. So we're actually in pretty good shape. Discontinuance as far as VDOT goes, it's to clean it up off of our books, to discontinue, or it has to be discontinued or abandoned to take it off of our books, okay, to resolve the number error in terms of roadway mileage, I guess is the best way to put it.
What would the cost savings be?
Well, sorry, if I don't mind to address, most of these roads have not been, pretty much all of them have not been maintained.
So you've already,
there's
got
not,
the benefit
right.
cost wise.
Yeah, we're not, I would say, saving anything or by abandoning or discontinuing them either way. It's just a matter of, like John had said, we're trying to correct in our system, areas that we aren't maintaining that are showing that we are. And it is part of just kind of the normal process, just making sure that we're formally documenting this, because it doesn't, we encounter them, I know me and myself on the land use side, we encounter things like this where there may be a section that isn't included or should be included or something. So this is basically what this exercise through our central office is to address, just any erroneous roads and to make that an official change to match what we're actually seeing in the field.
Yeah, this action does not affect any standard of maintenance currently being performed by VDOT, okay? Roadway maintenance will continue as it always has, or at least for the past 20, 30 years.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
Do you know if there's legal descriptions of each of these, that we know where this road is if we
Yes.
discontinue it?
The legal descriptions were included on the maps that I sent.
So if we do a trail in 10 years and we talk to the landowners, we know exactly the route, because we ran into this going through Sheriff Puckett's land last year or year before last, that we couldn't identify where this discontinued road was. So there's legal descriptions available to let us know where these
That's
are.
one of the gray areas. Because sometimes we don't have, the way, we will have deeds that say from the center line of the roadway. And so when there's no roadbed or anything to be able to tell that, then you're basically relying on a land surveyor or somebody to try to make that determination off of any records that they have. So it can get into a little bit of a situation with those. So sometimes
that might be when maybe an abandonment may even be a better option. If the developer, or I mean, if the landowner decides to develop it, then they can approach the county and VDOT as far as doing a subdivision plan or something like that to actually institute and put in a new right of way where they want to for the development. So
Most of these routes are older routes that were probably incorporated by the Bird Act, 1932 and Bird Act, okay? So no, there's not a survey center line for the roads, okay, which was pretty much the situation we had with Sheriff Hawkins' place over there, okay? So no, there's not a defined center line on the road, okay? Generally, that has always been the center of the general line of passage is the center of the right of way. And without proof to the contrary, the right of way width is 30 feet.
So I guess your hope today is because of this, this is a public hearing.
We haven't conducted the public hearing yet. I mean, I have to advertise the public hearing. And
You need a decision from the board which way we're going to go on each one of these, or is that what you're hoping for?
well, I mean, as part of this process, VDOT requires whatever action we take. We require, it's not a legal requirement, but it's a policy requirement that we get the board's support for whatever action it's taken.
Well, I agree with Danny, what Danny was talking about, especially this property may belong to some of these people that are along that area. So they would need to know if it was going to be abandoned or whatever, it should go back to the rightful owner.
Well, and as a discontinuance, VDOT's responsible for conducting the public hearing, okay? If you abandon these roads, well, then that's the board's responsibility to conduct a public hearing for a secondary phase.
And John, if we do,
We work together on those.
John, if we do a combination of both, if that ends up ultimately being a decision the board makes, will we do that as one combined public hearing that we advertise?
Yes, VDOT would advertise and conduct that public hearing.
The one thing that, the one thing that since I've been on the board, we've had to deal with some of these road closures. And I tried to get 1,800 feet added to the VDOT system. It's on Lawson Cemetery Road. And the road is maintained with people living there. And even at one time, the VDOT trucks use it. It goes into Starnes Bluff. I try to get that added. But VDOT wants to take away, but don't want to add anything, you know. But I've tried every way I can. Even Jackie Christian, he drove the road, and I drove it several times, you know, driving in there. The road is pretty good, but it needs to be VDOT maintained. But they said, well, we're not going to add anything to the VDOT system. And so, but we keep taking away, but we don't want to add anything. I know it's higher up than you, it's way up the ladder that decision's been made, but that particular road, at one time, even school buses used it, but it wasn't VDOT maintained. 1,800 feet is all it is, and the road is named, it's Lawson Cemetery Road, or Lane, whatever it is. And with those people, and one guy, he's got $1,800, you know, to get gravel stuff on it, but trying to get that added into the system. We keep taking away, but we don't want to add anything, and that's just, like I said, it's probably a higher up decision than me or you, either one. But anyway, but keeping taken away or abandoned or discontinued, then we don't want to add anything back, and that's just kind of a sore spot for me, because that needs to be done on that particular road. The people use that road all the time, but it's just privately maintained. And it's named, the county named the 911 system, but they named that road, and as far as the road number, it's not, I guess it ends wherever the end of state maintenance is, but anyway, that's just a concern I have. We keep taking stuff away, but we don't want to add anything back into the system.
And I mean, we can certainly explore that. There's options like a rural addition and doing those projects. We have processes in place to be able to add those in. And certainly,
If you will, I'll tell you where it's at, where the Army tank is, the War Memorial over next to Fort Blackmore, where you get to it, turn left.
Okay.
And it goes all the way into Starnes Bluff, and I've traveled it many times, and it's well maintained. Part of most of it was paved. Okay. But then that one section, about 1,800 feet, it goes from the end of that road into the Starnes Bluff area. It would be great for those people because it'd be quick access. Like I said, VDOT even used to. I think they do now. They probably quit, but they even use it as quick access in the Starnes Bluff. And so it's something I'll look at and see what your thoughts are.
Okay, yeah, and that can be certainly something we can look at, possibly something to try to incorporate into the secondary 6-year improvement program or something like that. So we can definitely explore those options.
Would that be great? Sure. Those people have been trying for years to get that done, it just hasn't happened. I really thought I could, I thought back in the day, I told them everything I could, try to get it added, but I haven't been able to do that. Okay. So, but if you would. Certainly. But we will consider all of this, and we have the maps, I know pretty well where these places are that you all have presented, I think most of the board here does, are all Scott County people, so the map is not the best I've ever seen, but I got a general idea where these places are.
It's best I can come up with the info I have. I mean, there's a lot of these roads I couldn't really tell where they'd been even.
Well, like what Bill's talking about, John Pluckett deal, trying to get that through there, nobody don't have a clue where the right of way even is. That was the issue we had, and that's a survey, it just shows a line through the woods, and that's about it, as far as the map goes.
Well, and it's basically the old road maps is pretty much all I had to rely on a lot of the locations for this stuff, so sorry about the maps.
The next move we need to make though would be what, Freda, do we just, I'm not gonna do anything here today, of course, but what would be our next move as far as the board?
He can tell you that better than me.
Well, I think the big thing is, do you want to pursue discontinuance of them all, or is there any sections of it that you would want to ban? If you want to, if the board would prefer just exploring discontinuance of all of them, then at that point, I can go ahead and, I need to know what action that we're going to take before I advertise the public hearing.
So if we do that, if we do the discontinuance of all of them, does that put the monkey on our back from then forward?
No, if you vote to discontinue them all, then it's on me to conduct a public hearing and proceed public comment.
So there would just be roads there that would be discontinued. It doesn't go back to the property owners or anything like that.
The right of way would be fall for, or to the county. Yes, you would retain the county, and VDOT would, not have maintenance ownership of it.
I don't think I'd be comfortable doing a package, a discontinuance, because if you have your public hearing and two people come in and say, well, for instance, down Maple Ridge, and one or two of those, it sounds like Nicholsville, that could be developed eventually. And could these be broken apart after your public meeting to where we can look at them and we're going to say we don't approve of these to be discontinued, 2 or 3, or we do approve 2 or 3 for discontinuance. You see what I'm saying? Could we wait until we see how the public hearing is going to hear from the people in Scott County about how they want to?
Well, we have to wait till we get a public hearing and we get public comment. I mean,
So we can't do anything until then.
I mean, but I think I see what you're saying. Do we have to handle them all as a group?
Yes.
Okay, no. I mean, it's a little more, actually, it's a lot more time and effort, but if you want to handle them individually, we can't handle them individually.
So that would have to be after a public hearing, correct?
Well, if you want to handle them individually, that means a public hearing for each one.
The way that I would recommend would be, we could hold one public hearing to go over all these. The board, what we would be doing is advertising our recommendations. We would be getting public, we wouldn't take action on doing these without having the public hearing first and getting, so after that public hearing, we may change some of these depending on the comments and stuff that we get back, or the feedback from the public, so.
And VDOT policy requires that we get a resolution from the board supporting the actions that we take.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I'm not comfortable today with doing anything, to be honest with you, I'm not.
And
I didn't expect.
Yeah, I think today's meeting was just to be able to get this informed you all, and we can go to the public.
Hopefully, through the media, so that people see this and they'll develop interest in it. If it directly affects them, then they'll be able to come and voice their opinion. If I want them to do, it's going to directly affect them, was your public hearing, or they come here and talk to us about it, because I'm not comfortable doing anything here today until we research and study to see what we can hold, the right option for those people living there. Okay.
Is these roads tied into the mileage of unpaved roads in Scott County?
No,
They're not on.
no. The maintenance, the paving mileage, that's based on what we're actually maintaining on the ground. This is largely an administrative matter to resolve paper street, more or less, errors that we have.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what it boils down to, is just the legal, actual authority of having maintenance responsibility for a non-existent road, so it's to try to resolve that situation.
And to officially remove that mileage from our law requires a legal action.
But it still really doesn't change the status on that property that lays out there. I mean, it would still be a right of way or whatever.
Yes, nobody loses legal access to their property with a
But that would
discontinuance.
belong to what, the county or the state?
The right of way?
Yeah.
The regulatory authority for it is returned to the county.
That's what I was getting there.
Yeah. So most of these are prescriptive easement routes, so the underlying fee ownership is still with the property owners. There's just an easement there over the old road for a public road. And in which case, if we discontinue it, then VDOT gives that regulatory authority back to the county.
So anybody that has property here could still travel the road
Yeah, it would
to the
maintain
next property.
public access. As John presented on most of these though, there's not even a semblance of a road bed in many of the cases, so, they're not being actively used right now.
Yes. But now there's a couple of sections that are over a mile long that access the bigger properties, and I would very much recommend discontinuance for those. That's bad, as opposed to bad.
Yeah, I'm not for abandoning any of these. What I'm saying up front here,
Okay.
discontinuance is one thing, that's kind of iffy, but abandon those, I wouldn't. We'll look at it.
Okay.
Can I ask the question?
Sure.
So what happens if, when you have your public hearing, you have a lot of people that show up that do not want this? What's your path forward at that stage? You know, what's your path? I mean, you've already identified these as ones that you would like to see discontinued. But what if these folks that own this property show up and they're very much adamant that they do not want this?
Well, what we do, we take the transcripts from the public hearing, okay? We take whatever the board recommends, whether you say yay or nay. We take the board's recommendation, we take the public comments, because a discontinuance, the Commonwealth Transportation Board is the only one that can approve that. We would send that information to them, they would look at that information, and they would either say discontinuance is approved or dismissed. If you get a herd of people like that you're talking about that disapprove of it,
Yes.
is that, which would make me tend to believe that the board would not support such an action in that case. And in which case CTV is going to dismiss it and they won't discontinue.
And in a case like that, it may be that, so let's say, how many, we had 6, 7?
5 routes.
Okay, 5. So 5 routes, 4 of them went forward, then we could have, the board could choose to go forward with those 4, and then maybe we're having a second public hearing and doing a different scenario to address that one route or something after the, so that would be my recommendation in doing that. You could take action on 4 of the 5 if there was one that was particularly had issues or whatever. Okay.
Joey?
Sure.
Is that all y'all had here to say about this, or you have some other things you want to cover?
Unless John has anything else, or are there any more questions?
Unless you guys got questions for me, no,
I've just got a question. Y'all had started some time ago about coming here at our meetings, at least maybe bi-monthly, is trying to do that, or maybe once a quarter or something?
Yes, I believe the intent is to be attending once a quarter. I think we were here at the last meeting and this one, and definitely any time that there's things like this in between. But yeah, our intent is to get back on a schedule of at least quarterly.
Okay, I have one question.
Sure.
maybe you can answer this. I've submitted a lot of work orders, in the last couple of months, probably about 14 of them. And I've only heard back on a couple of those. Those were just because of signage issues, but on the others, I have not heard a word, and it's been over a month.
If you wish to, if you don't care to email me what, or just provide me a listing of what those work orders are,
Okay.
I'll check into it and we'll find out what's going on. The typical time frame for work order process is what we expect is for, like, if it's a maintenance issue assigned to our area, we want them to at least address it within 10 days of receiving the work order. Of course, if it's an emergency or a, big safety issue, they'll get out there sooner for it. But if it's an ordinary maintenance issue, we expect the area to be in touch with the citizen within 10 days. And then most of these, if there's any of them that are outside of 90 days, then those are flagged. We actually are tracking the system and making sure that we're addressing it. So, yeah, if there's any, and a month is probably a good point in time. If you haven't heard anything on them, definitely get in touch with us. Let me know what those are. I'll personally check in and find out what's going on with them. And just, like I said, just if you can let me know what those work orders are, and I'll certainly be glad to check on it and try to get those.
I think it's kind of a problem throughout our whole county, as it relates to the streamlining of these things.
Yeah.
And,
I will say that Scott County does have a lot of work order, and we do have a lot of gravel roads. So that's it. We do try to address those as quickly as we can, but sometimes it is a little bit tougher in this county just with the workload to keep up with it. So, but go ahead. I'm sorry. Like I said, if there's any of them, you can email me, email Paul, if there's something that's been put in and nobody's contacted or anything, we can definitely address that.
We had one other quick thing, quick note. This is about a mile up the AP Carter Highway, and there was one of the trees that was actually over the road. I don't know if it was your crews or if it was the fire department that came out where this tree fell from the rain and storm we had a couple of days ago.
Okay.
It was all the way across the road, okay, the AP Carter Highway.
Okay.
And that wood was basically sawed up and put back over in the ditch, which is really going to stop up, the drainage systems and so forth. So I don't know. I wouldn't have thought that VDOT would have done it, so I'm not sure who.
You said, was it a couple of days ago? You said that, yeah. So sometimes they'll respond immediately to clear the roadway, and then we'll actually come back to try to do a cleanup. Especially if they're in snow or storm response. Yeah, they'll come out there, they'll clear the roadway, but then because we have to try to determine how we're going to dispose of the wood and stuff. Sometimes we have to chip it and take it to a place to burn it or something like that. So that's fairly typical, but I would expect they'll come out within the next week or two to actually clean up the rest of the site and get it out of the ditch or anything like that. So,
I just noticed, this is the last thing for sure. In days gone by, the supervisor would call, VDOT, and we'd have, a conversation with Jackie and different ones about the situations, but, and things would get taken care of, once the streamlining is done. I know that's to help you guys, but I'm just wondering, what's happened through that process. Because I think it's with other supervisors here too. I don't think I'm the only one. Have situations, I don't think I'm the only one who feel nothing. Trees cut or situations in the road. I know we've had a couple situations up the AP Carter Highway, for example, where there've been ditch is cut all the way across the road. And then when that sinks in, after the pavement in, it sinks in, then it just almost take the front end of your car off when you go across that, so.
Certainly if there's anything of significance like that, you're getting a lot of calls about, you can contact me or Paul directly. Okay. And we put them in, the system to be able to be addressed. The thing, and that's the other thing too, is we are working with our areas, trying to get them used to the new system and everything, and that's just something that I've expressed is anytime that we do have something, if it's called in by board or supervisor member, then we do try to, give that a little bit extra attention, and because they've been contacted by the citizen, we know that's important, so we are trying to do our best with that. As far as, now I will say, like with the trees, we are exploring some different options. We're looking at, trying to get maybe a bucket truck rental and actually do some of that ourselves with our state forces. We've had an issue with trying to get a contract in place to do some of that. So we're trying to be innovative with the budget that we've got and to try to address some of these maintenance issues. And hopefully if we get more of those taken care of, especially doing that bucket truck, I think that will be, we're going to try to do that as like a regional effort. And that will help a lot with trying to address some of those before they actually become a problem and we're able to maybe cut down on some of the call outs and stuff. So,
Do you have a phone number, Joe, that we can call you?
Sure, yeah. I can provide it to Frida and she can distribute.
And don't announce it here.
Yeah. But certainly you can get in touch with me.
That'd be helpful.
All right.
Yeah.
I have one quick comment. On Methodist Camp Lane, they've had some issues there, Stony Creek and Fort Blackmore getting up and watching that road completely out. They paved it, and the pavement lasts one rain and it's gone. So Jackie's looked at it,
We are actually meeting today on a Methodist camp.
Yep.
Yes, so we are meeting with drainage to explore, we're wanting to put in a box culvert to address that. And so, yeah, we're aware of it, and I know.
I knew you were about where you stood up where you
Yeah,
were.
yeah, we actually do have a meeting set up with Bristol Drainage today to look at that.
The one thing about that, I mean, if the asphalt, it goes away, it washes off and it's rain.
Yeah.
The concrete, like a low water bridge, the water gets over it, and when the rain is gone, it's still there.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I know they're looking at everything they can. The problem is above there. I've been trying to get something up the creek. The creek is going to reroute down through there. The creek is full up there, but dealing with the environmental side of it, you cannot clean that creek out. It really needs to, it's a sharp left turn and it's filled up. And the only thing, it's not, the reason it hasn't broke over, but it's some trees there. The root system is keeping it from. I went and looked at it, but that's the problem. But that down there is a Band-Aid really to fix the issue they've got. And so anyway, hopefully they'll come up with a good solution.
Yeah, that's, I'm hopeful today, we are meeting with our district drainage engineer and trying to come up with a long-term solution, because, yeah, it doesn't make any sense to go in and have to replace that pipe every time we have a big flood.
And have some time, there's 2 times, 2 or 3 times a year.
Yep.
All right. Appreciate you coming.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is item 9, and it's Department of Housing. It's a DHCD interagency agreement with the City of Norton. The City of Norton is the fiscal agent of that money. And the way it shook out, it was, City of Norton is $300,000, Lee County $500,000, Scott County $500,000, Wise County $300,000. The reason Wise County is less is because they'd already got $200,000. This is grant money to help small businesses to get the money. I think it's up to $15,000 per business that they apply for. Hopefully, the small business people will take advantage of this. But this agreement with us. Norton is the physical agent of this money, so it's an agreement with them to do that, and hopefully this will help business in the county. Did you want to speak on that, Ms. Starr? Do we need to talk any more about it?
Well, you just said it all.
I tried. I can't read, so.
We need authorization for me to sign the agreement.
And the agreement is in your packet, that's all it is, authorizing her to do that. And of course, the city of Norton is the fiscal agent, that the money's coming to them. And Lee County Wise has to do the same thing with them for city of Norton to be the fiscal agent of that money. I think it's 1.7 million total with 500,000 coming to Scott County. All right, any discussion? I don't think we need to talk a lot about it, but anyway, so you know what we're voting on here to authorize this
Mr.
agreement.
Chairman, I'll make a motion with, approve and allow, administrator to sign.
Okay. All right, Mr. Pitt made a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Herron, second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next item is item 10, Duffield Days Car Wash Permit. Do we usually approve these? I don't remember doing this before.
Yeah, we approve it every year usually.
Well, I don't remember. Am I let up? Anyway,
I don't remember, you that one asked that question.
well, I know, and, but I don't know why I didn't, but anyway, we need to do that and approve this. So are we actually approving the permit?
Yes, and on your tablet there,
Yeah.
you also have the certificate of liability insurance that's supplied, and the permit, so you can, see what it looks like.
Right.
And
Yeah, I looked at it, and not everybody else has too, so. Anyway, they're not gonna have the festival, I don't think, but they are gonna have the fireworks, is that correct, Ms. Starnes?
fireworks is the only event,
It's the only event they're gonna have, yeah.
and that'll be this Saturday at 9:30 PM.
9:30. Anyway, good thing, that area, and so we need a motion to approve this permit.
I'll make a motion, we approve it.
All right, Ms. Hood made a motion, do we have a second? Second. Ricky, second, any discussion? All in favor, vote saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried, I'll remember it next year. Next item is the Mountain Empire, Older Citizens Walkathon, and I know my neighbor, he takes advantage of this, and it's a good thing for,
It's not
what
on
they
your
do. It's a
tablet.
fundraiser, is what it is, and they're asking money from us to help with that, the cost of that.
Right, it's not on your tablet, but it's in your packet.
Right. It's 5,000 they're asking for, I think.
That's correct. And last year, they assisted 174 individuals from Scott County, and that was during the period November 1st, 2019 to March 31st, 2020. And the total expense was $45,900.03 to help the Scott County residents.
What did we give last year? You remember?
5, I believe.
Okay, well, that's not good. Folks, it is, my neighbor, he uses coal, and he's the recipient of this, and a lot of the elderly people are. You know, it's like a lady one time asked me to help her get a wood stove. She didn't ask for anything fancy, and I did, and so these people that actually burn coal and wood, and it helps them with that. And do other things too, when they're done. So, anyway, you gotta admire, people that will do that, and still the old way of doing it, but they're willing to do that. They do help the fuel assistance, and, it's a good thing. So, any other discussion here, committee?
If you funded, it would need to come from board contingency.
All right. Discussion, I'll make a motion
I'll make that motion.
for, 5,000.
For the 5,000.
Mr. Harris has made a motion on the $5,000 of our supervisors contingency fund. He made a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Kirby, second, is there any discussion?
The one thing we need to remember, they wasn't gonna be able to have the walk, you know, so that was gonna cut. That's right, as far as I know.
That's correct.
I didn't know that part of it.
Said, so they're gonna lose that. So this'll help them
Yes.
to continue doing what they're doing.
Right. All right, we have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor, vote saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. 174 people or families that we helped that for last time. Probably that many this time too. Next item is the solid waste center discussion. Ms. Martin, take the lead on that.
Okay.
Talk about it, if you would, please.
Today, we'll start we'll call it phase 1 of the solid waste centers. And the request is the consideration of closing the Moccasin Gap solid waste site temporarily during the road construction of the 23 access project that Mr. Mullins spoke about earlier. That would affect approximately 18 homes on Filter Plant Road. They're not in the town of Weber City. They're not in the town of Gate City. they're county residents, so they do not have household trash pickup, and, you know, they're right there at it. So it's approximately 18 homes. The closure would come about around September 19th or September 26th. If it's something that you're interested in doing, we would need, you know, to redistribute those dumpsters to other sites in the area. So we would like to get those moved before the road closures begin. And the 2 part-time employees would be utilized at different sites within the county. We've talked about that internally, where we would put them for better utilization. So those are a couple of the bullet points that I had on the project, or the request.
It's gonna be tough getting in and out of there with those lane closures. And it's gonna be really hard getting in and out.
And dangerous.
And that was the reason for that. I was hoping to come up with a different place to locate it temporarily, but I guess there's not any place we have that we could do that with the settlement.
And this site's actually on VDOT property. We don't own that site anyway.
I was thinking, is there any way they could put them, like the three-way parking lot or somewhere where we could put, it's not, I'm trying to think of the inconvenience of these people, but a lot of people use that, and so.
Three-way's private property.
I know it, but we could.
What about, right off of Waterloo Gap, where you at, where they come into the VDOT, the other end, sort of behind the big break, would there be a place there that we could?
All of that's owned by VDOT, so I'm not sure, yeah. We don't own any property in the area.
I just wonder if they'd let us move them to the other end temporarily until they get to the 4-year.
They would be unfenced,
Okay.
fenced.
Think about this.
May or may not be an issue.
This is a recommendation from a committee, and you know, we need to go with it, because we can discuss it here, but I don't think maybe we should. Because the committee has been working on this for a good while, trying to come up with some solutions to other issues too. But anyway, I throw that in there about all the vehicles will be an inconvenience for some people, but they have to drive down toward Daniel Boone, or, you know, go toward Antioch or something or wherever they got to go to get rid of the trash. But that's a pretty busy site, isn't it, Bill? I mean, going to Mott's Gap is pretty busy.
It's one of our busiest.
So they gotta go someplace else to do that. It's gonna be an inconvenience for them for about a year. So this project down on 23 is done. But you're gonna have probably bumper to bumper traffic through there a lot, you know, so one line, on that 23, so.
What's gonna be the closest ones to them?
You'll have Manville, Daniel Boone, and Antioch will be the closest ones.
And Hilton's if you're coming that
And,
direction.
yeah, Hilton's will be in proximity.
As a committee, I commend y'all, you know, that have done this and come up with this plan, and I know you've done everything that you could, so I'm gonna go along with what the committee recommends here. Do we need to vote on this, or just an announcement for you to do?
You would need to vote on it.
Okay.
The board sets the hours and
Right.
days of operation for the convenience centers.
But anyway, you see what they're dealing with here. It's not nobody's fault. It's just a product of you know, getting Route 23 better. That's what it's a product of. There's nothing we can do about it. So it's gonna be inconvenient for the people driving through there. It's gonna be inconvenient for taking the trash, but we just gotta live with it for a while till we get a year of it at least to get through this. And hopefully the project is not like the bridge project down at Riverside. Oh, it's not. But anyway, if they get through by the 24th of September next year, that'd be great if they can do that, be 1 year of it. Anyway, any other comments before we vote on this?
You think it would do any good? Of course, we have to move the fence to talk to Donnie about moving the dumpsters out, like Jeremy said.
I can reach out to him and see what they say.
Would we, I hate not to have a fence, but move them there maybe temporary, I don't know. It's going to be inconvenient for a lot of these people that use it, not to have it.
There's also a household pickup company in the county, Clinch River Trash Service.
Yes.
I know it's an expense. It's not very expensive that people could utilize if they needed household pickup. That's not within the town limits. That's already paying for that service as well.
I don't want to plug that company. I use them. It's $25 a month, and I'm telling you, it's well worth it. It's can out. It's kind of Monday morning of there. It's like clockwork, and I love it. Yeah. So, I'm not supposed to plug any business here, but it'd be something to help people, get the trash taken care of. They don't have to leave the house. So we'll entertain a motion to do this and hopefully to get out in the press, people will know that's going to happen and, I know it's going to be an inconvenience, but we just have to live with it. And what else? I hope the committee looked at everything they could to try to make it as inconvenient as possible for the people using that site. So anyway, need a motion, entertain a motion to close that site, either you said the 19th
or the 26th, whatever you think would be best.
All right.
They've already, well, they said this morning that the pre-construction is meetings in the morning, but if you've been that way the last couple of days, there's been work going on by Estes Brothers.
Right.
So I'm not sure, when they'll actually do the lane closure. I don't know how far out that's going to be.
Have the folks there, once we decide to do this, I think we will, but let people know, put a sign that it will be closed, so they'll know that there'll be some take the trash there, no place to put it. All right, we need a motion to approve this closure.
And if you'll include the date with the motion, that'd be good, that you want it closed.
Well, let's put it off as long as we can. We got, do the 26th.
The 26th, okay.
Give that 9/26.
9/26.
9/26,
This is September.
This will be closed for a year, right?
approximately. I hope it's not that long. All right, we have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Kerr made a motion. Do we have a second? I don't like it either, but I know most people do.
I would like to see somewhere else if we can find another place. I don't think we've got the choice whether to close it or not.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Your second. Any more discussion? All in favor, vote saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So it's unanimous, and so everybody, your phone will be ringing like just some of us. All right, next item is 12B, the DMV grants, Ms. Holmes.
I put those in your packet as well. The sheriff's office is now eligible again for DMV grants for selective enforcement. And there's 3 grants. One is $2,400. One is $18,000. And then the third one is also $2,400. So we just need authorization to accept the grants.
All right, do we have a motion to accept these? You call them selective grants, is that what you call them?
DMV selective enforcement.
I'll make that motion.
All right. Mr. Ruby has made a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Mr. Ricky, second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, vote saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Item 12C.
That's also in your packet. It's a letter from the town of Gate City asking to use the Scott County parking lot that's located at the corner of West Jackson Street and Manville Road. That's our parking lot there next to the courthouse. They would like to use that parking lot on Saturdays for food vendors. And the hours would be from 10 to 5.
I don't see it being an issue at all. It's not used at all during the weekend, so it wouldn't affect anything, going to courthouse.
We just wanted the board's blessing.
You're gonna get it right in a second. All right, without a lot of discussion, you can if you want to, but motion to approve this agreement with Gate City to use that lot there beside the courthouse.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Rick has made a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
Mr. Hood, second. Any discussion? All fair vote saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right. Bookkeeping.
Okay, your yellow sheet should be in your packet. Appropriate $10,000 to VTC DMO Wonder Love Marketing Grant number 21-012 Tourism 72600-5625 for a reimbursement received and deposited at the treasurer's office. And please appropriate $1,881,550 to coronavirus relief funds 32-11010 for monies received and deposited at the treasurer's office. And please appropriate $3,500 to courthouse maintenance construction fund 9-43600 3330 for reimbursement received and deposited at the treasurer's office.
Okay.
Those are all the appropriations.
All right. Do we have a motion to make this appropriation as described by Ms. Starnes?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Tiffany made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll say.
Mr. Herron, second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And I do have one grant that we need to accept, and that is Virginia Department of Election CARES Act 2020 grant funding for Registrar's Office. If accepted, please establish budget code for miscellaneous election supplies fund 32-13200-6005, and please appropriate $55,264 for grant award received and deposited at the treasurer's office.
Do you have a motion on this grant award?
So moved.
All right. You made a motion. Do we have a second? Mr. Ricky, second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next item is appointments. We have two appointments to be made on the EDA, Economic Development Authority. So, Tina, if you would.
You have 3 applications in your folder. You want to put those out? Dennis Briggs, and Alex Bird, and John Baldwin Ferguson have applied.
Okay. We'll do them separately, one at a time. We got two listed here. So the first unexpired term that is open. So we have a motion for this one unexpired term.
I'll nominate Lynn Fancy.
And the nominations.
I'll make the motion, nomination cease, vote by acclamation.
Okay, we have a motion, nomination cease, vote by acclamation. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Herron, second. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, the second.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Dennis Briggs and wonder if I can make a comment.
You may.
Okay, I've known Dennis several years, and he has been a businessman in Scott County for years. He had an insurance agency, he taught school, he's a graduate of UVA Wise. His wife was a teacher in Scott County for years. Dennis is as knowledgeable about the business and the needs of Scott County as anybody I could name today. I think that he would be an excellent board member who would work very well with our current board. So I'd like to nominate Mr. Dennis Briggs.
Any other nominations?
I'll move the nomination cease, vote by acclamation.
We have a motion, nomination cease, vote by acclamation. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Tiffany, second. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So those two positions will be filled as you have requested. I think we're getting really two very good candidates there for that, and it's, I know John, if you'll appreciate the people who go on there that will be a part of it and help. So I think to say something about what happened with two people that left EDA. A lot of things, some things are happening, disclosure and stuff that's it's happening because of what happened in other counties. It has nothing to do with Scott County. And so we try to get good people to serve on these boards. And so we had some good people that left because of disclosures they have to make to stay on those boards. I don't think it's really, they should have to do that to serve as a volunteer, get paid $0. But they felt like that rather than disclose all that they had to disclose, they just resigned from the board. And so anyway, I did talk to one of them in particular, and I hate it because we have good people. And so, anyway, anytime you volunteer for a board, you got to do all the disclosures. And what happened in Warren County, I mean, it was some serious stuff went on there. And so, anyway, I think our county is well represented on that board, which, I think we have a good director there to take care of business. But having business people business minded on the Economic Development Authority is so important. Because it's probably one of the top boards in the county we want people to, and so we're blessed to have one we have. And I'm sure Mr. Chris and Ms. Fancer will do great on it. They'll be great replacements of what we need. All righty. Thank you. And County Attorney items, Ms. Kegley.
I have two things to ask you about today. We need to make some updates to the procurement ordinance. So I would ask for authorization to advertise public hearing for that. And also, we need to probably extend our COVID-19 emergency ordinance. We had language in there that it would last no longer than 6 months, and that's November, I think, but I think we could probably be wise to go ahead with it and, then make it effective for as long as it needs to be and not have to do it again. But if I
Does that normally end in December, was that what you put out originally?
6 months.
It'd be November,
Oh,
6 months from April. So if I could have authority for those two ordinances, probably do it separate.
All right, on the procurement ordinance and, allow her to advertise this, is that correct?
For a public hearing.
Okay, so, to allow her to do that, so need a motion to allow the county attorney to do that.
I'll make that motion. So
All right, Mr. Cooper made a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Tippett, second, any discussion? All in favor, vote say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Then the COVID-19, that we did, 6 months, won't be no input this time, is that correct? It'll be just until we decide to quit doing it?
Until everybody's through it, you know, I guess the state will dictate.
I'll make a motion to extend the COVID as work described.
All right, Mr. Ricky made a motion, do we have a second?
I second.
Mr. Hood, second, any discussion? All in favor, vote say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried.
That's all I have, unless y'all have questions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next item is the county administrator item with the claims, summaries.
We have the claims in your packet. The available cash in the general fund after claims is $3,998,426.45. Claims for the month, the early set totals $102,333.32, with current claims totaling $846,727.38. Some of the larger ones this time was advanced disposal, $39,592.61. Appalachian Juvenile Commission first quarter, $55,980. Ergonomic Home, that's 50% deposit for the new dispatch stations at our 911 center, $15,161.98. Hilton's Volunteer Fire Department, first allocation for fiscal year 21, $16,000. Southwest Virginia Regional Jail Authority, first quarter payment, $552,513.31. And two-way radio for Sheriff's Office equipment, $15,164.58. So total claims that need to be approved is $949,060.70.
One thing I always look at is on the back of that first page, the graph showing where we were fiscal year 2018 till today. So we're about 1.2 million above where we were this time last year. And so it's always a good thing. One time we had to do a loan anticipation or revenue anticipation note. We don't know if we get through to November or not, so we don't do that this year, and I'm glad of that. So
I'm not complaining about that money, but how do we get so far ahead all of a sudden? Where'd that money come from?
We ended the year better than we anticipated, but our reconciliation check for the jail is in here. So that was a little over $800,000.
Okay,
So that's why we're ahead compared to last year.
good.
Last year we were paying it out, this year we got it back.
How much was a reconciliation?
It was a little over $800,000.
So everybody will know, this is the result of doing the Scott Service Program.
Yes.
And I talked to them the other day, there's 48 people, I think, now in the program that's working in it. And so that's about $41 a day per person that we're not having to pay. So getting that money back, and that was what we hoped would happen. And it's got to work, so hats off to those folks that are working so hard to make that program work.
Yes.
We have to put some money up front to pay the salaries and give, give them much work and all the stuff they needed. And so anyway, it's paid dividends now to get that back. So hats off to them, because the county, the taxpayers in the county will hopefully see the benefit of it too as we go on, when we do things on down the road. But anyway, I seen that, and it's always, I look at that bar graph, and it's good to see that where we are compared to we were just a few years ago. Need a motion to pay the bills.
So moved.
All right, Mr. Ricky made a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Tippin, second, any other discussion? Anyone? All in favor, vote saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So the motion has carried. Thank you, ma'am.
The next item I have is the treasurer's equipment request. I believe I put that in your packet as well. It's for a new Remit Plus machine. The price would be $2,775 and would include some servicing as well. And what this machine is for is it scans the checks and allows them to do those checks electronic deposit. So instead of having to, endorse all those and take them to our banking facility, they can actually scan them and they're done electronically. And that the current scanner has about to the end of its useful life.
Okay. Where would that come from, the money?
Board contingency, because her budget doesn't have
Right.
anything that large.
I knew it did, but I wasn't sure I know where it would come from, so. And I think it's probably needed, it'll help there anyway at all for it, make things better and more efficient for that office. All right, so it's $2,800, is that correct?
$2,775.
2077.
You know, if the DMV stops paying that.
I do not.
I gotta say yes, because she said she's doing everything that every other county was doing. I don't think she did this, so I'm assuming, I'm gonna say yes, they're being done. I haven't seen it, but I'm assuming she said she was doing it.
And my FOIA request stated that as such too.
But they're being.
I'd like to see, we get that TAC report that John Wright does every month. We get that showing exactly what he collects. I'd like to see a report like that while she's collecting through those sites, where it's offsets or whether it's DMV stops or court action taken. And I wish she would provide that to us if she has. But I'm assuming that she told us she would do it. I'm assuming she's doing it.
What I would like to see, and I would like for us to discuss, since we're on that topic, and I'm sorry to digress a bit, but I would like to see a report from John Rife perhaps of how many of, like when he sends us this TAC report each month, if he has received what years and information he has received that prior month.
Personal property or real estate?
Both.
Both. Usually he don't get the personal property until it's ready to roll off. When it's been due 4 years, he gets something for the 5th year.
Right, I do, and I think that's the way that we could do that to, because, that ensures that she's supplying, or that the treasurer's office is supplying.
We asked for that, I don't think we got what we asked for.
We didn't, we asked for that from her office. I'm wondering if we can ask for that from his office as to what they've received.
Is it not in that report, Freda, that he gives us?
He just gives us what he's collected. I'm curious as to, what I'm curious about and interested in seeing is if the information, if he's getting the information he needs to provide it to him.
I can, actually, I won't hear, but I can tell you the answer to that. He's talked before with the answer to that.
I know the answer to that as well, but I was wondering if that.
Well, here, I'll tell you what my thought was. If he's going to do the 5th year, getting ready to roll off, and that person owes for the 4 other years, let him do it all. Deal with that one person, but he cannot get that information. He gets the last year's ready to roll off the 5th year. That's when he gets it. So if, in the next year, if they've not paid, he gets that person again for the 5th year on that particular amount. But he can do it all on time if he had the information, but he doesn't have it.
I would like to know what information he is getting, since we can't get that from the treasurer's office. I was wondering if we could get that from his office, maybe. Can you ask maybe and see if that's something that they would be willing, that he would be willing to provide to us? As, you know, I mean, just to say, okay, during this month, prior to our meeting, this is the information that, you know, was provided to us, whether it's, you know, in the form of a report, if it's in the, you know, just to ensure that he's getting the information he needs to be able to do his job that we've hired, that the county has hired him to do. That's my concern, you know.
Well, think about what he does. It doesn't cost the county anything. He
Well,
adds his fees on.
He does,
So
but at the same token, we're asking him,
We're hiring him.
we hired him to perform a service. And I just, I would like to be able to make sure, that's the only way that I can think of, that we can back check the information is being given to him, since we can't seem to get that through the treasurer's office to us.
And Mr. Jeter, to answer your question, it looks like we've received $5,185 in DMV stop fees since July 1st. So by that, I would assume they are being done, or we wouldn't be collecting a fee.
That wouldn't be something John Wright would do.
I can't tell that. I can just tell you, log in and tell you how much money's there.
Thank you.
So we have no way of knowing if it's the treasurer's office doing it or if it's TACS doing it.
I would assume the treasurer's office, because Mr. Wright, I don't believe does the MV stops for us.
All right. I see on the report, there is personal property tax he's collected, so I don't know how he does that, if it's through DMV stops or however. I'm glad it's happening. We need to, and, you know, the people that's taking advantage of all the services here, not paying their taxes, they really have an issue with that. All right. Where are we?
Next item I had was Route 23 access management update.
We didn't vote on the other.
I don't think they voted on the.
Okay,
Oh, we
sorry.
had a motion, we did. Do we have a motion on it? Back up.
I'll make the motion that we purchase the equipment to aid in helping the treasurer's office perform the duties of such.
I'll second that.
Sue made a motion, Ruby made a motion instead of second. We talked about it. All in favor, vote saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Thank you, Sally. All right, Ms. Summer.
Okay, Route 23 access management. I put this on there because I didn't know that Mr. Mullins was going to be here to speak about that today, so we can take that off.
Okay.
And I don't believe I have anything else.
Thank you, man. Good job. Yeah, they do. I mean, you think about all these numbers that we look at, we approve or don't approve, whatever, but that's a lot of work goes into that. My hat's off to y'all for what you do, and Amy and all of you work hard on this, and it makes us look, I guess, it would look good, y'all really do appreciate what you do, and so, anyway, we do thank you for what you do, it's hard work. All right, anything else before, Mr. Google comes up on the EDA? These, we're gonna relocate Scott County, right? You know, tell us that. All right. All right. Just kidding. Got life sometimes.
Two on there, but it's,
I got my own stash.
and then,
I'll share it with you.
Morning, I'll take the mask off for now,
You're loud.
because you can't hear me. What do you want to do? Thanks for the opportunity to present today and talk about economic development. I know it's been a while, been through this, COVID, still dealing with that, and appreciate y'all's patience and working with all the departments through this and the bids as well. First, I'll talk about designations. Of course, the marketing tools, some things to continue to work on. Of course, Virginia Enterprise Zone, course, reminder that zone includes Duffield, US 23 corridor through Gate City, River City, and Jackson and Kane Streets to Ingate City, and of course, River City, Riverside property, Highway 71 to Nickensville, and then also the town of Dungannon. And that's through the Department of Housing and Community Development. Of course, we partner with them on there in this application process. And we were one of the first enterprise zones and continue to have an enterprise zone. We expanded that a few years ago and added those other areas. So the board approved 2018 enterprise zone incentives. That's part of the program to a couple of companies earlier this year, and that was 70,086. So that's a little bit on the enterprise zone. We continue to work with that annually and have to do reports to the GCD. Also, TVA rural certification, education assistance. We've achieved the designation of TVA rural certified community, and we have to continue to work on that annually as well. So we're presently working with them to evaluate our work plan for economic development, and they will work with us. All of that's free of charge. Their consulting fees are free of charge, and they actually hire consultants sometimes to help us as well. So they will do that, and they will assist us also in developing marketing materials for the Duffield area mainly. And Scott County EDA RBEG loan program, of course, this is through the USDA Rural Development. I know that a lot of you over there hear the Scott County telephone announcement. That was USDA as well funding, but this is also a USDA, and one of the representatives that we work with, he was attending that event for Scott County Telephone, Craig Barber. He helps us out of Wistful. But he helped us initially set up this program. Today we've had 27 loans approved. That equates to about $500,493,900. That in effect is 70 employees, 40 tourism related, 17 retail, and 6 support businesses. That includes one new loan approved in 2020, and we are working on a couple right now that in different areas of the county that will hopefully that'll be good news later on. Also, we work with Virginia Coalfield Economic Development Authority. They have a seed capital grant program. That's for small businesses, and that provides grants up to $10,000. It requires matching funds, so they can technically use the RBEG loan as a match to this program, and they can get the $10,000. So $10,000 is the extra RBEG. So we've had 7 Scott County businesses have received grants through VCTA, and we recently approved 2 support letters from county businesses, and they will consider that at their September meeting later this month. Marketing and activity, we continue to work on website, marketing materials, and also we're working with TVA on the master plan for the Scott County regional business and tech park, and that's in the work. We've also had 7 new prospects this year, and then 1 prospect visit, and we'll continue to follow up with our existing leads. So it's not been slow. We continue to work. A lot of that work electronically, but we continue to work with prospects. And of course, this is the Duffield area, the park that's there, and we'll continue to work on the sites that we have available that are already filled out, and try to attract businesses there, and of course in the Bella as well, which is the Kruger Road Tech Center, and we want to continue to try to attract businesses within that facility. And the Regional Industrial Facilities Authority of the RIFA, we worked with the RIFA and on an opportunity zone grant. So we had 1 opportunity zone that came through the federal, they designated opportunity zone, but that money again flows through the Department of Housing and Community Development, and or that designation, that's where it came from. So we're partnering with Atlanta Wesco to get a CDBG grant for planning on the award up to $30,000, and that's for the region. That's for the Atlanta Wesco region. So the counties in the region and the city of Norton. And we will work on our opportunity zones and come up with a marketing prospectus for those zones and to help us further market it to people that might invest in those zones. And that's what we're looking for, investments in all our localities. In the whole region, we've not really had a lot of investments yet in opportunity zones, but a lot of people have looked. So hopefully we can get this marketing material together and help us with this. TVA Invest Prep project, that was total funding on this, and we completed that. That was one of our objectives earlier this year to complete the project. That was $293,000. Working with Powell Electric Co-op, Tennessee Valley Authority, and Northeast Tennessee Regional Industrial Development Alliance. Also worked with Virginia Pack Commission, and of course us as well. And we paved the road, of course, in the tech part, so that was gravel, so that's a better access point. At the end of this, of course, there's a POP or point of presence, that's for the broadband infrastructure at the end of this, so that helps them access that as well, and we're spending a lot of money on gravel. So
Where's that at?
that's in the tech part. Yeah, right past the River Road Tech Building, right, that's the, you see that light pole in the back of that picture, that's the cul-de-sac right there.
Okay, yeah.
So part of that project included a sign that TVA helped us design, and helped us with, the landscape architect. And of course, the lighting, they helped us, plan those as well. And we work with Powell Electric Co-op on the lighting. That helps that whole area there. So we completed that. The other one we continue to work with is the Daniel Interpretive Center. Of course, DCR manages that, Department of Conservation and Recreation through Natural Tunnel State Park. We continue to work with them on the Virginia Tourism grants that we actually applied for, since we actually owned that at the time. Eventually, Natural Tunnel will take that over. Still working with the state DCR on that to get that transferred. They're just open Friday through Monday right now, 10 to 6, because of the COVID, and hopefully they will be able to open longer next year. This was going to be their first full year of opening, and it would have been great to have them open, but we had the pandemic actually hurt all of us. Riverside Development Phase 3, this project, of course, was, we were going to do additional site at the Riverside Development. That was advertised and bids were submitted twice. The lowest qualified bid was $1 million over the engineer's estimate. So we have discussed the project with Virginia Pack Commission, which has some funding in this, and also VCTA for a potential extension that would be determined in September. So we would want to get an extension on the Pack Commission. Then we will work also to find additional resources, hopefully through DHCD and maybe some other funds as well, if those are needed. So we'll work with the engineer to develop a plan for another site, and that was going to be like a 7 to 10 acre site. I'll show you on the right side of the road behind the bank. That's where we have planned. We've been working to try to get that accomplished, and haven't done that yet, but still working on it. Still need a site, another site here. Then the other one that I told you in January that we're working to complete this. Phase 1 of this has been completed, which is the parking area, working with county staff here, Bill and Frida. And we continue to work with DMME and Appalachian Conservation Corps and the Jefferson National Forest for additional funding for the trail. That's made to work to make the trail safer going to Dale's Bathtub. And since the parking area, you still have a lot of people that are visiting the Dale's Bathtub, we want to improve and make the trail safer. And I know y'all have been working on some items on that as well, as far as telephone access and things like that for emergency services.
Just a quick question, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Would that entail markers and things like that?
Yeah, the markers is part of that. Of course, trail enhancements. I mean, Appalachian Service Corps, they have a lot of experience working with National Forest, so they would actually make the trail safer, and they would come up and work with the forest on the design and make that safe.
Thank you, sorry to interrupt.
No, that's great. I encourage questions. In Bridging the Gap, COVID-19 loan program, when this pandemic first started, we knew that businesses would, suffer from this, and working with VC, we were able to come up with a loan program. That was our initial step in trying to get relief for businesses. So that was a $5,000 loan. We had 16 inquiries on the loan program. 11 applications were received and 11 was approved. So we had 60,000 amount. 60,000 was allocated. 55,000 that has been spent. So we still can do one of those if somebody's interested in the loan program. That's a deferred loan. They didn't have to start paying until January of next year. So trying to help the business out. And with your all's help through the CARES Act funding, the Disaster Recovery Fund grant, that was allocated on that was $250,000 to the CARES Committee. 28 inquiries on this one. We had 19 applications. 18 of those were approved, and 250,000 allocated again, $163,500 spent. So we're going to have another round of this and hopefully get that out soon and get applications in and look at those once again to try to get the rest of it.
So I was gonna ask, when are you gonna open that back up? Because I've had some inquiries myself.
I think anytime. I think we'll talk about that at the
Okay.
CARES Committee, but September 30th was our projection to take the next ones. That's what the EDA board had recommended.
Okay, sounds good.
And then, of course, here's just a map of the businesses touched. Of course, the Bridging the Gap loan, of course, is in red, and then the Disaster Recovery Fund grants in black. That's the businesses in the county. That's all over the county that's touched by both of those. There are some of the objectives. I talked about those. Don't want to rehash those, but just the Invest Prep, the Stony Creek project, and the partnership with C Capital. VC, we've done those. The planning process was, we had that actually planned for May, and working with UVA-wise, they were going to facilitate a planning session with our board. Had to cancel all that because all events were canceled at the college. So we're trying to reschedule that now. They're back in now, so we'll get that rescheduled and get that done hopefully by the end of the year. And then, of course, you've already talked about this, the Lena Wesco Regional Small Business Recovery, Business Recovery Assistance. This is for grants up to $15,000. I guess the great thing about this nonprofits will be eligible for this one as well. The other one was for-profit business. This is, you can have nonprofit business as well. So, the application is on the Lena Wesco website. These are due, I think September the 24th, that Friday. But it's all, that's all that information is on the website. Go back here, 25th, that's Friday. But we can send that information out too, and we'll get that information out from the chamber office, and then we'll get it posted on Facebook and things, so we can get that out. Any questions?
Yeah, on Crooked Road Tech Center, second floor, is it in Renton?
Second floor, we got the Mott's in there, and they're part of that facility, so they don't have the front part of that facility, and then they've got the front part of the first floor as well. We're working to try to get other people in there.
And Riverside, you got any prospects down there for business?
Yes, we've had, we've talked with some, and hopefully we'll get some, I hope.
You talk about preparing the site and coming in million over budget. Could you cut the site down?
You could cut the site down, but then in talking to VC, that is that the best thing to do? Because if you look at Riverside, if you look at Television, for example, teaching you, their total site was 7 acres. They took all 7 acres, that whole site. So if you think about that, so to reduce down further than 7 acres, will you attract a business like that? Because it depends on the parking area, I know, because a lot of that's parking that you it would work. You went down to 5 acres or 4 acres.
I think you did for 7 to 10.
Yeah,
That's when if you could cut it to 7 and maybe have enough money to go ahead and finish it.
yeah, that's a possibility. I think the engineers looked at that, to do it. I mean, you probably could do it on the other side, but you want to do it on the other side of the road too. You need both sides developed. They're looking at all that.
One more thing. How about the sign down there? We got any landscaping done in there?
No, we haven't had, we need to get that done. You're right. Thanks for the reminder.
You're welcome. I'll leave you alone.
No, that's good.
Any questions for Mr. Gilpin? All right, thanks.
Thank you.
These ones might want to relocate here then, I guess. All right. Thank you. All right, we'll down to item 18. And so we will have a closed session. We get to this part of it. And due to the distancing and everything, what we'll do, we'll go to closed session when we use this room. So hey, that's y'all leave a few minutes before we go to the room, and everything not big enough to get everybody 6 feet apart. So we'll do it in here, and I hate to do that, but we have no choice with it. So anyway,
There's a small group.
do I? Okay. We'll do that. Anyway, comments, requests, recommendations, Steve.
I've got one, this is for Bill. Bill, I think that you should start visiting sites at least once a week. Landfill. I don't know if you do or not, but I think you need to kind of get a hold on. There's a lot of stuff going on at sites that needs to be looked after, I think.
Okay.
Make sure their grounds are mowed, make sure they're clean, make sure the fences is good, make sure the buildings are up to date and stuff. And, one more thing, can this COVID money be used to help, I guess, has Riverside put in for any of the money? I know each town gets some.
They have.
They put in? Okay. I didn't know where it could, I know, there's something going on about the fire department. And I didn't know where any of it could be used for the town, that they're trying to update the fire department, but, so far, I don't think the town of Riverside has tried to help any on it, which I think they should.
Some of the requests that the town of Weber City have sent in have been for the fire department.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all I got, Eddie.
Mr. Tippett.
Just one thing, and I've already talked to you about it, Bill, and you came up to the solid waste center in Hilton where some brush needed to be cut. A lot of folks have been complaining about that.
Randall and one of the Scott workers did that yesterday.
All right, good deal. All right. Appreciate
that.
Thank you. Love it. And want to appreciate the staff, you know, through the COVID and so forth, you know, our administrator, our assistant administrator, public works director, and all the workers have been here, have been on the ball, have been on the job, have been taking care of business, and so we're grateful to our county for that.
Okay. Thanks, sir. Mr. Herron.
I guess I should have thanked VDOT when they was here, but, you know, they did a good job up around Nicholsville, you know, with the roads, you know, with the gravel roads, stuff like that. There's still some problems with the mowing, you know, I mean, they're limited on what they can do, but, you know, I'd like to look into something else, you know, maybe doing some sort of spraying, maybe that could help keep the right of ways down a little bit. I know when I was younger, I remember spraying, but I'm sure there's restrictions and things like that. I really think that could help with some of the situations anyway. But you know, they're doing what they can do, all they can do. The Scott workers, you know, had a situation over at the Veterans Memorial on 72. VDOT is responsible for that, but due to COVID, they've not been able to do exactly what they're supposed to do, I guess, because of the COVID situation. But the Scott workers went over there, they cleaned it, weeded it, and did what they needed to do, so I'd like to thank them. That might be something they'll continue to do, I don't know, but we'll just see how that goes. Like to thank them for that. The Scott program is outstanding, like Mr. Mann was talking about the savings, that the $800,000, that come back to the county, is solely, we can point toward the Scott program. That really helped the county, and, coming into this position, that was one of the big things was the jail, we've not really talked about the jail all that much. That's, my God.
No, Jesus.
But
I'm not worried about it.
I'm proud of that. Seems like we get stuck on the negative things, and there are some changes that needs to be made. We need to keep moving forward. But these cell phone towers, of course, none of them's on yet. Have people ask why they're not on, but they got the one up in Nicholsville. It's 198 feet tall. The actual structure's up, so it's I'd have never thought we'd have had a cell phone tower. But that's a good thing, a good step in the right direction. One thing I'd like to, I wasn't going to mention this, but I'll go ahead and mention it and let you sort of digest it, and if you have any input at the next meeting, maybe. I had a call from, and I spoke with Frida about this, but I had a call from Roadside Mission Baptist Church. They're located on 71 in the Snowflake area before you get to Nixonville. Of course, that's where that precinct votes. The people from Big Moccasin, people from Taylortown, they vote there. And probably the biggest thing is that the school buses come in there and they swap kids, from different areas, and like big Moccasin kids. Some of them might come to Gate City and some of them go to Twin Springs, and they swap buses. Of course, that's used every day, five days a week, twice a day. They had requested maybe some help on maybe resurfacing their parking lot, and I don't know the direction on how to go with that, but they did request me to ask that, and that's what I'm doing. But you all can think about it. I think the school system should have some input too, because they're using that for, and I did ask about the election part of it. I don't know about the school part of it, but the election part of it, that's the only church that they actually use. Well, the fellowship hall. Of course, that's only at the most twice a year. But anyway, that's something I'd like for you to think about, and maybe we can figure out something. But we need to reach out to the school system too, I think, and see what their thoughts are too. But anyway, everything seems to be going pretty good. Appreciate all of you. We'll keep moving forward.
All right, thank you. Mr. Brickman.
I'd like to, first of all, I'd like to say in a few minutes, I'd like to discuss Danny to give us an update on the Black Gum Cliff Mountain situation. I've not heard anything, but what I would really like to do right now is to tell some people how much I appreciate them, and I think they're relatively ignored, and that's our media that shows up every month. And it's hard on us because sometimes I've said things and I thought, oh no, let me down or something. Or Lisa said that, but it's good that you're here. And it's good that you're here, and then also in 8 months I found out that some elected offices, boards or constitutional officers, it seems like they don't have to answer to anybody, or that's the thinking. But with you sitting there and our news media that goes out, our videographer, it is going out to the public. So you hear what's going on. And I've heard several times from people on this board that elections, voting has consequences, and it does. So what you're doing is going out to the people that really need to know. And they know what we've tried to do and what we've not been able to do. So I appreciate you, I really do. Sometimes, we take fixtures for granted and people don't even notice that you're here. And I'm not comparing you to a desk or a table or anything, but you're permanent fixtures here, and as far as I'm concerned, you're very welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. That's it.
Just one quick response with regard to what you said before I forget it. We're still streaming, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the media, so the folks can bring it up, what's on YouTube at Scott County?
Scott County VA Board of Supervisors meeting.
Okay, very good. And, should we mention about what you told us?
Sure.
It's also to be streamed at, help me out here.
Heritage TV's YouTube site.
Yeah, okay, Heritage TV YouTube site. Okay, very good. So you got a couple of options there on streaming, and folks being able to get our Board of Supervisors meeting. I just want to put that in there because a lot of folks don't may live in an area where they don't get Scott County cable TV, and so they can't get it, TV that way. The only way they can get it is through YouTube. So you got a couple of options here. No?
All right. Thanks, sir. Ms. Sue?
I have not forgotten the people on Blackdown. I have been in
No, I knew
constant
that.
communication with them. Last Friday, we met with the UNISCO, was there, and Delegate Kilgore. Senator Pillion cannot come, but he sent a representative. And Lennowisco is working to try to get some funding to help these people. And Duffield Fire and Rescue continues to take water to them. And in recognition of what the Duffield Fire and Rescue has done, I would like to suggest that the board recognize them with a monetary gift of $2,000.
Ms. Hood and I discussed that a few days ago. And so we do fund our fire departments, and this is on and beyond what that they would normally do. So we talked about it, and I said, we probably need to help them out some because it is costing them to do that. Provide water, that's not part of their job, but they're doing that through an emergency service that the fire department's doing. So anyway, I support doing something. We discussed the amount. I thought, if we did $2,000, that I think it would be, because they're going on and beyond what the fire departments usually do by doing that. And so, but anyway, Ms. Starnes, you're looking at me kind of funny, but.
I am, I'm sorry.
But anyway, we did discuss this, unless, if we can do anything to help those people, and then help those that's helping them.
Yes, we need to do that.
And so, anyway, and we talked about an amount. I said, if we did $2,000, that would go a long way in helping them, because those trucks going up that mountain, hauling low water, the fuel, but they're volunteers, they're not getting paid, but the truck and the fuel and what they're doing there, it's admirable on their part to have these people.
Any word on the National Guard yet?
No, Senator Pillion's office is supposed to contact them. I gave all the information to his representative last week. And Senator Pillion used to be part of the group here in Kansas City, I think. So I haven't heard anything yet, though.
So you'll put that form of a motion to approve that from our contingency fund to help the fire department out some with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, she has made it in the form of a motion to donate this extra $2,000 to the Dunford Fire Department to help them with their expenses related to this water delivery and the other things they're doing, so I'm sure they'll appreciate it. So, any discussion? If not, she made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Ricky, a second. Is there any other discussion? All right, vote saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so anyway, that's,
Thank you.
that's
Thank you
good.
very much.
She's listed, she's a new supervisor. She's not as new as she once was, but she's doing really good. Both, all of you that's new on this board are doing great. And, so it really has been great, but you're getting hands-on experience dealing with stuff and you're seeing people face to face. When they take you in their house and show you the washing machine, they buy a wringer type and carry rainwater to wash, do their laundry. How many else is doing that? So that's what they're doing to cope with this. And so we do this at the fire department. I think it's a good thing. Anything else, Ms.
No, that's fine.
Ms. Ruby?
You know, I don't ever want to miss the opportunity to say thank you to all the people that are here, you know, Ms. Kegley, Ms. Tina, Ms. Frida, Mr. Bill, and as Mr. Bricky said, our fantastic news media staff. I love that. That's great. That you are the unsung heroes for us getting the message out. Just a couple of things, you know, I mean, I said this last time, it's money and taxes are a burden for me. I mean, it's a thorn in my side. I'm with you when you say a thorn in your side. I mean, it bothers me as a citizen, as a Board of Supervisors member, as a tax-paying citizen who regularly pays my taxes, that we are having issues collecting out, you know, with the collection piece of it. It bothers me. And I have put in a few FOIA requests and have gotten, you know, some information back. I do feel like we need a planned path forward for how how she's going, or how the treasurer's going to collect that tax. I've yet to see that. I know she's not responsible to give us that, and I know she's not accountable to us. I realize that. But we are a team here in Scott County, and we are expecting that office to fund the county. That's how we fund the things we're funding, is through the taxpayers. Through the treasurer's office and the tax collection, but I will get off my soapbox. And I have done a few things, you know, like Marshall said, with the roads and things. Haven't heard anything, but did get some emails back from Jackie this morning, so I'll see what he said, and that kind of thing. So I do appreciate everybody that works, does all the stuff behind the scenes. Thank you all. This has been a fantastic learning experience. Like you said last time, it's not drinking from the fire hose, it's opening the fire hydrant sometimes, but that's okay, because I've really enjoyed it, and I really appreciate each one of you all.
Thank you, man. Y'all got your feet wet, you knew, and I remember the first training that we had in 2012 in Richmond. One of the things the guy said, stuck with me, he said, you know, it's admirable y'all to do this. You don't get paid a lot to do it, but you do it for 4 years. If you do it the second term, you did your heavy time. So some of us is third term, third term. So anyway, but you've got to want to do it, and it makes the county better. That's what my goal is here in this county. All the comments I have, one thing that happened, $12 million that's going to be allocated for broadband coming to the county, and over a 5-year period, $9 million being from the government, and $3 million from the phone company to do that. And folks, that is a tremendous step forward for our county. And the phone company, they have been a partner on so many things to help directly. I mean, cutting costs from setting poles, you know, to get power to a certain place that we need, and they would do that. But they've been a tremendous partner. One lady put some stuff to me on social media. I tried to answer it. She liked my answer. She deleted my answer. So I don't know what else is going on by, you know, the county. Are getting money, and what do we see from it when they get these grants and stuff? You try to answer, they delete your answer. But that's okay. But anyway, with that, and I did get a chance to talk to Congressman Griffith about Black Gum. He said, this is exactly the perfect opportunity for you to talk to Betty Brant. She was there. I talked to her, and they took my name and stuff, and they're going to put us in direction, and he seems to think that we can get some money, emergency type funds for those people up there on Cliff Mountain and Black Gum Lane. So hopefully, there was good timing too, and so that worked out really good to be able to do that with those people down when we met, had that announcement Monday. When we had the meeting with Ms. Hood there from Lena Wisco, and she mentioned folks that was there, and the one thing that they said, and I don't know if we all just talked about it, was when we declared that local emergency, was it got the attention that we needed. It got more than I thought it would, to be honest with you. And when Channel 5 meeting, they were there, and everybody was there, and the news media wanting to put some stuff out there, the county paper stuff did. So I think we're on the right track to help these people to get water. And so I can't go one day without. They've been since November of last year without. So it's been a tough road for them to travel. But anyway, they're so appreciative of this board, and they made it abundantly clear how much they appreciate the action that we've taken. And again, I'll say what Ms. Hood did. She went up there with an olive branch in the form of gallons of water to them. She took it to them, and they really appreciate the thoughts behind you doing that. As I said before, that's what happened. And anyway, they appreciate that. Anyway, that's all I have on this, and I appreciate everybody. We do have, I said closed session. We'll take a break, go to the restroom, whatever. But we'll be on closed session. Anything before we close this part of the meeting? All right, we will adjourn this part of the meeting to closed session in a few minutes, and I'll read the statement I need to do in a little bit when we come back. So this is in closed session. We'll do it in here, like I said, we'll do it in here.